Guys, welcome to your first set of notes for Chapter 6. We're going to be talking about monomials and power rules, and we're just going to start by getting some vocab today and then doing a little bit of practice. We're going to be able to identify the different components of a monomial, so that's why we need this vocab. And then we're going to use some of the rules from the vocab that we're going to talk about to be able to simplify some expressions, okay? We're going to start off with this vocab. So the first thing that you're going to see is a variable. And a variable is a symbol used to represent an unknown quality. So we have been using these over and over and over again. These are like nothing to us now. So up here, our variables are A and B. Those are representing something that we don't know. So A and B would be our variables. Okay. Our next vocab term is a single product of numbers and variables. So the word product, remember that means to multiply, and numbers and variables. So when we're multiplying numbers and variables, this whole thing is a multiplication problem. 5 times A squared times B. So all of that together, since we're multiplying them, is called a monomial. Now, I've told some of you my story, I think last year. The word mono means one, okay? So that's why it's a single product. So mono always makes me think of the disease where you get really sick and you're tired. This is going to look like a dead person, but it's really just someone lying in bed. So you're really, really tired when you have mono. And you can only get mono once. That's why they call it mono. It's like the short term for the disease. So whenever I think of that disease mono, you can only get it once. It's a single term. This here, since we're multiplying them, is one term. So this whole thing is a monomial. Okay? All right, next term. The number in front of a variable or term. So we've got a variable here, a variable here. The number in front has a special name. It's called a coefficient. So 5 would be our coefficient here, okay? So 5a, the coefficient is 5. 7ab, the coefficient is 7. So it's just the number in front, okay? All right, next term. Terms that have the exact same variables to the exact same exponents. Those are called like terms. We don't have any up in that example. But for example, like terms would be 7a and 6a. Since they have the same variable, they are like terms. Okay? So we could combine those or simplify those if asked. Okay? Similarly, if we have 7b squared and 8b squared, they have the exact same variable to the exact same power, so those are like terms. Okay, have to be exactly the same. Not the coefficient. Coefficient doesn't matter, but the variable to the exponent does. Okay. A combination of terms along with arithmetic operations is called an expression, and that's what we're going to be simplifying today. So an expression, notice it's very different than an equation. It doesn't have an equal sign in it. You're just simplifying. You're not going to be able to solve these today. I'm so sorry. You'll probably want to because you're so good at solving, but you're not going to be solving today. You're just going to be simplifying, okay? So an example of an expression is 5a plus 7b squared plus 9b minus 10. Okay, there's no equal sign. Okay, you're going to try to simplify this best you can, but you can't solve it. Okay? All right, and then our last thing here, you don't have to write anything here. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go back to this monomial up here real quick before we move on. Remember, this is, actually I'm going to ask you guys to just kind of recap what each of these things are. So go ahead and pause the video and answer those questions. All right, once you've answered those questions, a couple more things. This is a coefficient, remember. These are our variables. this little term right here, which you don't have a vocab for, but you should know that this little guy right here is our exponent. So remember, it has to be raised to a certain power. It could be to the third power, fourth power. But this term right here, where it says a squared, a would be the base for the exponent. The exponent is only on the a. It's kind of like a cheerleader when you have a base. So it's the girls on the bottom that are holding up the other girls. So a is holding up the exponent of 2. So the 2 doesn't go with a 5, it's just with the a. Okay, so that's going to be important to remember for our next section.